The night was cold, and the silence inside the old house was deeper than the silence outside. Rachel Morrison stood near the cradle, humming softly to her newborn daughter, Ella. Her lips trembled, but she forced a gentle lullaby, the same one her own mother once sang to her. "Sleep, my angel, the night will guard you." Rachel wasn't a believer in superstitions, but recently, the house felt different. The walls seemed to breathe, and shadows seemed to move in corners where no light reached. Every time she sang the lullaby, she felt as though something, or someone, was singing back. Her husband, John, had brushed off her fears. "You're just tired, Ratch. Motherhood isn't easy. Get some rest." But Rachel couldn't rest. Every night, when the lullaby ended, Ella would open her tiny eyes and cry, not the soft cry of an infant, but a chilling, unnatural scream that sent shivers down Rachel's spine. The first time it happened, Rachel thought she was imagining it. But the second time, she noticed something worse. A shadowy figure stood by the window, rocking in rhythm to the lullaby. Part 2. The Cursed Melody. Days turned into weeks. Rachel's exhaustion grew, but so did her obsession with the lullaby. One evening, while cleaning the attic, she found an old, dust-covered book, Canticle of the Cradle. Inside were lullabies written in strange languages, filled with illustrations of women holding babies, surrounded by dark-winged creatures. Her heart raced as she turned the pages. The song she sang to Ella was written in the book, but this version had a warning scribbled below. "This is not a song of comfort. It is a summoning. Do not sing it past midnight. Do not look into the shadows as you do." Rachel froze. Who had written this? Why was the lullaby in her house? That night, she tried not to sing, but Ella cried louder than ever before, her tiny fists shaking violently as though fighting something unseen. Desperate, Rachel gave in. She sang the lullaby again. This time, she heard another voice join her, a deep, rasping, motherly voice that wasn't hers. When she looked up, the shadowy woman was standing at the cradle, her pale hands reaching for Ella. Part 3. The Mother Who Never Slept. Rachel's fear turned into research. She discovered an old urban legend whispered among mothers in their town, the mother who never slept. A woman who lost her baby centuries ago and cursed every lullaby sung to newborns. The myth claimed that if you sang the cursed lullaby enough times, she would come for your child, claiming it as her own. John didn't believe her, even when she showed him the book. "You're spiraling, Rachel. This is postpartum paranoia." But Rachel knew what she saw. Every night, the figure came closer. Every night, Ella cried harder. The cradle began rocking on its own, and whispers echoed in the baby monitor even when it was unplugged. One evening, Rachel recorded herself singing the lullaby. When she replayed it, her own voice was layered with another voice, hoarse, hungry, and ancient. "Sleep, my child, come to me, sleep forever." She nearly dropped the phone. The entity wasn't just haunting her. It was waiting. Part 4. The Night of the Taking. The breaking point came on a stormy night. Rachel awoke to Ella's cries, but when she entered the nursery, the crib was empty. The window was open, curtains fluttering in the rain, and the lullaby was being sung by someone outside. Rachel ran into the woods barefoot, her nightgown soaked, screaming Ella's name. The lullaby grew louder, echoing from the trees. Lightning flashed, and she saw her, a pale, skeletal woman in a tattered black dress, cradling Ella in her arms, swaying to the cursed tune. "Give her back," Rachel screamed, her voice tearing. The woman's hollow eyes fixed on Rachel. "You sang for me. You gave her to me." "No," Rachel cried, running forward. She snatched Ella from the ghostly arms, but as she did, the woman's shriek split the night, shaking the earth itself. Rachel ran back home, clutching Ella, but the lullaby followed. From that night on, Rachel knew there was no escape. The lullaby was bound to her bloodline, and Ella was marked. Part 5. The Final Choice. Rachel's love for Ella was fierce. She refused to surrender her daughter. With trembling hands, she burned the cursed book, hoping to end it. But as the flames consumed the pages, she heard the lullaby grow louder, angrier. The house shook violently. Shadows spilled from the walls, crawling toward the crib. Ella wailed as the figure of the mother who never slept materialized fully, long black hair, white skin cracked like porcelain, and empty eyes that dripped with black tears. "Give me the child," she whispered. "You promised her with every note you sang." Rachel screamed and sang her own version of the lullaby, twisting the words into a prayer, a plea for protection. Her voice was raw, her heart pounding. The shadows writhed, the figure shrieked, and the cradle burst into flames of white light. The entity dissolved into smoke, but her final words lingered. "I will return. Every child must sing. Every mother must pay." Rachel thought it was over. The book had been burned, the shadow banished, and the cursed lullaby silenced. For days, the Morrison household was calm. Ella slept soundly, John returned to work, and Rachel tried to convince herself that the haunting had been nothing more than her tired imagination. But nightmares plagued her every night. In her dreams, she was back in the nursery, singing the lullaby while unseen hands rocked the crib. Each time she woke, drenched in sweat, she heard a faint humming, like Ella was still singing the forbidden melody in her sleep. The humming. One night, Rachel leaned close to Ella's crib. The baby's lips were moving, soft sounds forming in the dark. "Sleep, my child, come to me," Rachel gasped, covering her mouth. "No, no, no." John stirred from the doorway. "What's wrong?" "She's singing it, John," Rachel whispered. "She's humming the lullaby." John frowned. "She's a baby, Rachel. She can't even speak yet." But Rachel knew what she heard. The ghost's influence hadn't been destroyed. It had passed on into Ella,